Hello, hi, I'm Abhishek, and I would be presenting from my team with Vinayak, Rahul, Ishan, and right now I'm going to give a code walkthrough. This is a tweet count program which is being written in order to for the map reduce. The tweet count.java is the main file wherein I actually specify the job config details, the mapper class, reducer class, output key file, and output value class, basically the job details. In the mapper class, mapper.java, I write a program to actually map the input file and then extract the tweeter here, contains at the rate, where I actually extract the tweeter data and then pass it, and I do have sentiments.java wherein I have actually classified three string arrays. One is for positive sentiments, one is for negative sentiments, and one is for sport arrays. So basically, what I do in Mapper is I will get the data, check whether I do have an entry for the sports string array, and in case I find it, then I check the sentiment of that tweet. I check the total number of positive sentiments that it has, set it to positive sentiment count. I check the number of total number of negative sentiment it has and set it to negative sentiment count, and then I actually subtract negative and positive, and in case the final count is zero, then I set it to neutral. In case if the count is greater than zero, then I consider it to be a positive tweet and set it to positive, and if it is less than zero, then it is set to negative. And I write it. The mapper actually writes the sports name, say for example cricket, then the sentiment, and set it value to 1, and write to a file. Later on, when the reducer in the reducer part, it basically checks the key and just sum up and find the total count of the file. So I have actually created the tweetjar.jar file, and then later on uploaded it to AWS EMR. This one, tweet counter program. Here, the step which I followed is I created a cluster, gave it a name, then I created a log file directory. This way, a basic configuration, selected version to be Hadoop 2.49, selected instance types to be small, M1 smalls, and then at the end I added a custom jar setting, selected the jar which I have uploaded to S3 bucket. So I have actually created S3 bucket wherein we have these folders to be created, and we have the main job which is the jar file loaded into the job folders. Later on, I give the input files, the input path of the input file, and the output file which I want, where actually I need the final output of the map reduce. On hitting create cluster, it will start creating the cluster, and then finally I would get output into tweetmap sentiment MR results. This is the actual output that we got in our last run. Is the way it is being expected. The name of the sports, the type of the sentiment, and the count that we received. Later on, I have another program that's an AWS program wherein the name of the program is Twit Sentiment Graph, wherein actually I have a sublet in which I take this as an input. For that, I've actually used a sport model, a model which is used for each sport and the kind of emotions it has, the sentiments. Later on, here I'm actually reading from the file using the Amazon S3 client, creating an object for the S3 and then reading the file over here from the X3 bucket. Then I am actually reading it line by line and separating the using a string function and separating it as per the sports and the emotion, and actually setting the values for the model, then creating a list and then sending it back to the index.jsp file. Here I take the top. Basically, we are calculating the top five in the top five sports, and then showing it in a graph. So we have a predefined JS high charts.js wherein we are actually passing the values through an object, and at the end we get a graph this way, which are the top five games in the tweet data with blue as a positive emotion, black as a neutral emotion, and green as a negative emotions. That's it. Thanks.